So hello and welcome to another video from sickmaths.co.uk, where you can find lots of free maths videos, and this one's about factor and remainder theorems. Okay, now excuse me for my slightly weird voice at the moment. Apparently one of my students said it sounds like I'm on weed, and that would be really good for a maths video, so hope you enjoy this. Let's begin with explaining what factor and remainder theorems are. I've done it in short over here. Basically the idea is, right, imagine you got a function fx and it's made up of x plus 3 times another bracket dot dot dot, I don't know what's inside, plus a number at the end. Now if I put minus 3 inside there, it'll make, that means replace the x with a minus 3, that becomes minus 3 plus 3, which is 0, and this times this, 0 times something, would make that also 0. Now if f of minus 3 makes 0 overall, that means that was 0 as well. That means that was never really there, and basically x plus 3 was a factor of the entire function, because this x plus 3 times something else made fx. So in short, if you got f of minus 3 equals 0, that means x plus 3 is a factor. It's like the opposite goes into it and tells you what is a factor. Now if f of minus 3 does not make 0, but it makes 5 instead, that means r was really there, and again f of minus 3 should make this 0, which makes all of this 0, which means you've only got r left, and if 5 is the result, that means r is 5. So in a way it's saying r would be the remainder if you divided, if you broke up fx into x plus 3 times something, the remainder would be r. Or another way of saying it, if you divided fx by x plus 3, you'd get this plus this number left over called the remainder. Now when we're talking about remainder, I'm talking about things like if I did 11 divided by 5, the answer would be 2 remainder 1. I'm talking about like 2.5. Yeah, which is another way of saying what you've got left over. Remainder just means the undivided number, so r is the undivided number. Or if you divide fx by x plus 3, you would have got this plus this number that hasn't been divided. So that's the idea behind factor theorem and remainder theorem. Factor theorem says if you put minus 3 and you got 0, that means x plus 3 is a factor, and if you put minus 3 and 5 is a remainder, or any other number, that number is the remainder. Okay, so we'll go into more detail about that shortly, but just to say, if you've got a function where, so f of 3 over 5 equals 0, what could be the factor? So that means we said x equals 3 over 5, and therefore I could rearrange that to 5x equals 3 and also 5x minus 3 equals 0. That means 5x minus 3 must be a factor, because we want a value of x that goes into a bracket that makes that bracket 0. Okay, like we had over here, minus 3 made this bracket 0, and if overall that x value makes the whole thing equal 0, that means this bracket is a factor of fx. So that's the idea behind that. Now show that x minus 2 is a factor of fx, where fx is all this stuff. So if fx is equal to x minus 2 times something, i.e. x minus 2 is a factor, then f of 2 should be equal to 0. So if I put 2 here, I'll get 2 minus 2, which is 0. 0 times something equals 0. So that's the idea. So if that was true, f of 2, so I put 2 in here, should make all of this equal to 0, even though this is written a different way. Either way, this is supposed to be equal to this, so f of 2 should equal 0 this way or this way. So I put 2 into here, I get 2 cubed plus 6 times 2 squared minus 2 minus 30, as I've written here, and yeah, it equals 0. you know, 8 plus 6 times 4 is 24, minus 2 minus 30 does equal 0. So that's proved. When you got equals 0 at the end by putting 2 in, that means x minus 2 is a factor. Now, well, here's a more complex question. You got a function which is this function, and you've got an a inside it. So fx equals 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus x plus a. If fx is divided by x minus 1, it gives the remainder 2. Find a. So if it's divided by x minus 1, that means I substitute 1 in, because 1 minus 1 will make it 0. Okay, so substitute 1 in, and you get 2 times 1 cubed minus 5 times 1 squared minus 1 plus a. Okay, and that should give 2, because the remainder is 2. So if I simplify this, you get minus 4 plus a equals 2, and therefore rearranging it gives you a equals 6. And that's it really.